Evening all. Good evening, Jolly sir, Anil sir, Shirley sir, everyone from Buy Side, and all the participants for being here today. And unfortunately, we still have a technical problem with Zoom. Actually, we have been facing this issue for past couple of sessions. Actually, in fact, there is some sort of settings that I think I need to change in this so that people can join easily. Anyways, today we have engineer Shelly Fernandez with us. I would request Anil sir to give a brief introduction uh, on the speaker. Anil sir, please.
Chairman Jolly Varghese, Vice Chairman Shaji Matthew, and other participants. And today it's a great pleasure for me to introduce a very close friend, Engineer Shelly Fernandez. And Engineer Shelly Fernandez is the Managing Director of QCrete Readymix India Private Limited. He has more than 30 years of experience in construction, execution, and management of roads, bridges, residential buildings, cement ready-mix concrete, etc. He implemented the concrete mix design for 30 independent houses. He started his career as site engineer in Bhaktwar Singh Balakrishna Company Private Limited, Bhilai, for construction of residential quarter for Sale Township, Bhilai, in the year 1984. From 1988 to 1998, he served as executive engineer in National Buildings Construction Corporation Limited, a government of India enterprises, and executed prestigious projects like First Expressway between Ahmedabad and Vadodara, Indian Government Mint Works Hyderabad. He worked with Gujarat Ambuja Cements Limited as technical head for Kerala and Mangalore for the period 1998 to 2003. He served as managing partner for the Design Right Lab for the period 2003 to 2005. In the year 2005, he became the general manager of South for MBS Readymix India Private Limited and serves till 2016. And then he started his own venture, QCrete Readymix Private Limited. Engineer Shelly has graduated in civil engineering from MIT Manipal, Mysore University in the year 1984. He has done his post-graduation program in concrete technology and construction from Institution of Concrete Technology, UK. He is the member of Institution of Engineers, American Concrete Institute, and Indian Concrete Institute. He played a key role in the formation of Indian Concrete Institute Kochi chapter in the year 2011, wherein served 2 terms as chairman of the center. He was also a governing council member of the Indian Concrete Institute. And if I remember correctly, during the time when he was the president, our chapter received the Best Center in India award, a very dynamic personality and a go-getter and an encyclopedia in the ready-mix concrete. And ready-mix concrete is catching up in the industry. And to have a good knowledge of ready-mix is a very important aspect, especially for the young budding engineers and the people who are in charge at site. So today, let us make use of this golden opportunity to have Shelly Fernandez along with us. I thank him for readily agreeing to join us. And over to you, Shelly sir, for your presentation. Jolie sir, would you like to say a word right now or later on? Okay, Shelly sir, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you, Anil, for the very detailed description about my profile. Thanks to Nebu, Abraham, Jolly Varghese, and Shaji Matthews for giving the opportunity to present my PPTs or my technical session for BUY. I'll share my screen now.
Yes, sir. Sir Shelly sir, while presentation, I think you can try switching off your video so that your bandwidth doesn't affect your presentation. You have a problem with the bandwidth.
Okay. Video,
So
no, okay.
Yeah, immediately after the presentation, you can turn it on.
Okay.
All right.
Friends, today's my session is on ready-mix concrete, actually, which is catching up in India. It is still at a very, and we are just converting from site mix to ready-mix concrete actually. So today we'll have a detailed session. First, I'll go to the historical background, some few slides on that. Then where we are positioned globally, actually, where we are in India, what the position. And then slowly we'll come on to the technical aspects of ready-mix, and then what site engineers require to look at ready-mix, and what engineers look at ready-mix architecture in general. So a brief historical background of RMC. In 1903, RMC was started in Germany. So the plant used to be very, very large in size and used to be looking, can see the photograph of the first plant which was come up in Germany. And you can see in 1930, the first concrete mixed offsite and delivered to the construction site in Baltimore, USA. And in 1926, transit mixer was first used actually. And in 1930, the first RC plant established in UK. It is basically for the commercial.
Shelly sir is having a technical issue, I guess.
Yeah, he'll be joining soon.
Yeah, he'll join.
Wait for 1 minute.
Right.
I hope you can hear it. Hello.
Yeah, sir, you got disconnected, so you have to again reload the file. Yeah, present it.
Okay.
Yeah. So you are in that historical background where you left us.
Yeah, this was the historical background of RMC. 1913, the first concrete mixed offsite and delivered to construction site in Baltimore, USA. Then 1926, transit
Slide has not yet come, sir. You have to share the screen once again.
Okay.
Screen is not visible to us. Yeah. You have to reload and restart. You have to open the PPT and then go for the share screen and then click on that PPT.
Is it I am connected actually now? 1 minute.
Yeah, you are connected. You are connected. Only thing, your share screen is not getting shared. So you open the PPT, then go for the share screen and click on that link and it will open up.
1 minute. Okay. Is it okay now?
Yeah, screen is coming up now, sir. Yeah, right. It's visible. You can now go to that slideshow. It is visible.
Okay.
Historical background of RMC. Yeah. Carry on, sir.
Yeah, a brief history background. I'm audible now, Anil?
Yes, yes. You can
I'm
make
audible?
it full screen. Yeah, it's
Hello?
audible now. You are audible now, sir. Yeah.
Okay. So a brief historical background of RMC. 1913, the first concrete mixed off-site and delivered to a construction site in Baltimore, USA. And as I told you, 1903 was the first, the concrete plant was patented in Germany. And in 1926, you can see transit mixer was first used. And 1930, the first RMC plant established in UK. And 1933, the first specification of RMC published in USA actually. Now, these are the vintage concrete pumps and transit mixers used in those days actually. Now we can see the difference, huge modifications has taken place, lot of innovations has taken place. Now you can see most of them moving in Cochin roads. Now, the historic background of RMC in 1960 to 19, there was a phenomenal growth of RMC in USA. Now we can say around 31 million cubic meters were built in 1974 or 1990. 75% of the cement consumptions, concrete was manufactured through the concrete ready-mix concrete plant. It was, now we can say might be around 90% concrete which is produced is from ready-mix plants actually. So compared to that one, now if we see RMC in US in India, 1991 the first commercial RMC plant was set up in Pune, but closed later on. That was not viable because a lot of we know that a lot of taxes were being imposed on a ready-mix concrete plant or a concrete coming out of the ready-mix plant, so it was not viable for the commercial operations. It was closed later on, and then in 1994 it started again. It started for a dedicated plant, and then they started using it for commercial plant actually as a commercial plant. So 1994 we started our commercial operations in Mumbai. That is the start of RMCs in India. Now you can see a ready-mix concrete plant as of 2020, or you can say now 2021 also. It's in infant stage. Market penetration is around 15%. So we are still in the toddling stage actually. So we require a lot of ready-mix operators, require a lot of support from the construction industry to reach the stage of a developed stage actually. Developed countries like USA, UK, and other countries, developed countries actually. Now, this is basically a ready-mix concrete plant actually. Basically, you can see it comes in different capacities depending on the requirement. Mostly for a smaller, it starts with 30 cubic meter batching per hour. It goes around to 60, then we have 120, then we have 180 cubic meter. So depending on, suppose a huge project is there, and then they go for dedicated plant where they can use 3 cubic meter, 180 cubic meter, there's 60 cubic meter, 120 cubic meter, 180 per capacity also they are using it actually. So all the cements are being stored in silos, and we have transit mixers taking the concrete, flying the cities actually carrying the concrete. So working in ready-mix industry, it's a live industry actually. Basically, you cannot store concrete once it is mixed with water actually. So the working professionals, people who work in ready-mix industry, are have to be every time alert actually, because once the water is placed and once it is mixed, the concrete is mixed at the batching plant, it's a challenge to take the concrete and reach to the site where it has to be delivered. And as you know, particularly in Kerala, we have various challenges actually. The roads are very narrow, so we have to incur traffic jam. Sometimes it delays, or most of the customers, they like to have concrete during the daytime, whereas It is always good to have concrete during the night. It is good for concrete as well as for the concrete operators. But again, there is a constraint at the site, might be the workers. They charge overtime for working the night, so it is doesn't viable for the builders also to work during the night actually. So various constraints are there, union issues are there, which go when the vehicle is there, the pump should work properly. It has to concrete should be placed on the slab actually. So it's a challenge. It's a challenging industry actually. So people who are working in ready mix, I can say they will they will never grow old actually, working in ready mix industry actually. Now I always compare ready mix concrete with a healthy human being actually. Like you can say that a commercial plant to be viable, first and most important is that there should be sufficient sales. That is, for a human being, oxygen is a must. So for his survival, same thing, a sales, the potential for concrete requirement should be there in the particular market. Then only a ready mix plant can survive. And second most important thing for a concrete plant or a commercial plant to survive, it's for a human being, it's blood flow. That is, blood should flow continuously in our body. So same way I compare it with cash flow. Cash flow should be is a requirement actually for a ready mix plant. That is the second most important thing. Third and most important thing for a concrete plant is that it should have a good technical team actually. I place it in the third position. It should have a good technical team. Some of the ready mix can also survive even without a technical. So it is just like a brain dead. So I compare it with brain. So the brain should be the technical team actually, which designs, which goes through each and every raw material, what is required, producing a good concrete. They designs they do the mixed designs, they do the trials at the lab, and then it is passed on to the batching plant actually. Same thing. The fourth is the digestive system, like good raw materials. You should select the best materials for making a good concrete. So that I compare with the digestive system, that's the raw material. Fourth is the heart, the production unit. That comes the heart actually. The plant also has to be taken care properly. Proper maintenance is required. It is very essential, because what is happening is that in the midst, suppose if you are doing 100 cubic meter pour and your plant is not properly maintained, if it stops, the contractor at the site doesn't understand all these things. He requires concrete continuously at site, and if you say that your plant is breakdown, it will come after 1 hour, he is not going to listen. So all sorts of issues can happen. So your plant production, the heart should keep functioning actually to produce a good concrete. Should continuously 24/7 it should work actually. And the fifth and sixth important point is the transit mixers and the pumping actually. Of course, both are also going through various challenges. While transit mixers moving through the roads, it has to be safely driven and reach the site. Again, pumping, we have skilled workers working in the pump actually. They too has to be working safely actually. So with all this, if everything functions well as a healthy human being, you can say a good ready mix plant is operating in your city actually. So just as I told you, the first part, the sales and the cash flow, I'm not going to discuss. It's a technical support system actually. For any ready mix concrete, we have to have a good laboratory at the plant actually. It is also essential that all the consumers, they should visit the ready mix plant and see for themselves actually what sort of facilities a ready mix operator is having, and what is the quality systems they are following actually, or they have immediate access to well-equipped laboratories fully equipped to carry out tests on concrete, cement, aggregates, and sand actually. All tests are to be carried out as the relevant IS codes actually. So this is a view of a laboratory. Every person who requires or orders for the concrete, even if it is an IHB, he can visit the plant and see for himself what all the facilities and what all things they are doing at the lab to produce good concrete actually. Basically what happens is, as a ready mix player, they don't order the aggregates from anybody actually. they go through a process actually to select the best raw materials available, and through that ABC suppliers only it is procured actually. So this is basically to give a good control on the mix design which is being executed at the plant actually. Now you can see we have the following equipments like a compressor testing machine. Basically, a compressor testing machine is there, but most of the engineers fail to ask when this machine was calibrated actually, or where is the calibration report actually. So it is the operator has to display the calibration report when it was calibrated at the near to the machine itself actually, so that the customer who is coming to check the cube strength can see the calibration report actually when this has been calibrated. It has been calibrated through which NCCBM ring that they give us a certificate which has to be pasted along with that one. Also, some of the customers, they say that no, we want to test it ourselves. We take it to some lab where it has to be tested. But the cube, there also they should ask for the same questions actually when your machine was last calibrated, because all the machines has to be calibrated actually, and then only you get the correct report actually. We have this accelerated curing tank to get the cube results in 24 hours actually. Basically, somebody wants to do the concrete and they cannot wait for 28 days. We cast the cubes and then in 24 hours we get the results. So we can go ahead with the concrete pour, need not wait till 24 hours to wait to see whether the mix design what has been done is correct or not actually. Again, another thing is that we should have this temperature control curing tank. Most of the people, what they at sites see that cubes are not given that respect actually. They take the cube, first of all, taking samples and cubes. I'll come to that one a few slides later. It is there. These cubes, as per the IS code, it has to be cured at 27 plus minus 2 degrees centigrade actually, and for which this curing tank is placed inside the laboratory actually, and for which AC facility is given, as well as an heating arrangement is also given where to maintain this temperature in the water at 27 plus minus 2 centigrade. You can see here that 27, 28, that range, it has to be maintained. This temperature inside the water has to be maintained. The gauge is kept there. As soon as the water temperature drops below 27 or 25 degrees, the heating arrangement starts actually. So water gets heated, and at 27 it's a cutoff. So this arrangement has to be done to maintain the temperature. Basically, at sites when they are curing in the cubes, at least a proper curing tank should be kept, and it has to be covered with a sheet actually, so that direct sunlight is not hitting onto the cube mold. Otherwise, there will be variation in the cube strength actually. Now, lab equipments are there to conduct tests on water, aggregates, cement, and mixtures, concrete. Now, we can say that most of the time in ready mix actually, most of the engineers are very specifically, they'll keep on telling that they want this cement, they want that particular brand of cement, all these things. It can be done, but for that, they should come and take the trials at the lab and see for themselves what is the strength it is being achieved actually. Basically, all the concrete professionals working in the ready mix industry, they are day in and day out, they are doing mixed designs, and they are well versed with the materials, whether it is cement or aggregates or admixture. So for the customers to make use of them actually, they are invited to come for even for a small concrete, they can come to the lab, they can do the trials and then check for themselves what is the workability they require at site, and then accordingly design it. Ask the concrete professional to design your concrete accordingly. Now again, we are checking the concrete in plastic stage. Like as I told you, concrete tube molds are there, and basically, if you visit any site, there will be cube molds available. But what happens is that the cube molds are handled by different people on different locations actually. Now what happens is that once the cube mold, they fill the cube, then when they demold it, they will remove this part separately actually, and this part will go to some other cube mold. this part will be attached to the other. So what happened again, that right angle, this one gets lost, and then there will be the cubes there is chances it can go out of shape actually. So once the cube is removed, it has to be attached. This mold should remain intact. This A and B should remain intact actually. They should not go to different molds actually. So that precaution should be taken. Again, slump cones are there, and then we have this concrete temperature stick. So advantage with ready-mix is that if you want a temperature controlled concrete, whereas it is not possible at site to produce that one, but for a ready-mix, you can tell that, okay, I want might be 28 degrees centigrade concrete at my site. So there is concrete facilities can be done to produce that much concrete at that temperature concrete at your site actually, which can be produced in a plant and then it can be transported there actually. So the advantage of ready-mix is that you can ask for a temperature controlled concrete actually. Now I'll just few of the doubts hearing actually. Sampling for a ready-mix industry, we take the sample for making slump taking the slump as well as for cubes actually. So there is a slight difference when we are doing at site concrete as well as when we are doing at the ready-mix. There's a difference between ready-mix and site mix concrete actually. When a truck comes with 6 cubic meter concrete, the sampling, what the BS or the IS second revision says is that first 0.3 cubic meter you have to let it go into the pump, and then balance you have to take it in. This is a scoop which is being used. You can see that this is a scoop which is being used, and the concrete flow is like this. You have to take the scoop and across. You have to take the concrete across the flow actually, and it is to taken in one part, then let concrete go, then second part, then third part, and fourth part, and then it has to be taken in a pan, and it has to be remixed and then taken in. So that way sampling has to be done actually. If you take it from the beginning, you may get a segregated because it's a huge 6 cubic meters is a big sample actually, and from that sample you have to take one sample is 3 cubes actually. So sometimes what happens is the customer says that no, every truck you take 1 cube actually. So that will not give a right. That's not the right method actually, because you may not get the right strength for that one. If one sample means you have to take at least 3 cubes from one transit mixer. The customer has the option. You can tell that which transit mixer you can ask the customer ready-mix operator to take the sample actually. So that from that transit mixer, he will take 3 samples, because always when we say the IS, when we compare, we take always the 3 cubes and then we take the mean strength of the 3 cubes actually for determining the strength of the concrete actually. So this is alternative method. Alternative method is that some discharge has to be taken. You can see the discharge takes 6 after 3.3 cubic meter discharge. Let the first 3 cubic meter go. Take 6 scoopfuls from the next 0.3 cubic meters. Now you can see here this particular person how he is taking through this. This is a scoop actually, and the concrete is flowing in this direction. And through the scoop, he is taking across the flow. He is taking the sample actually for the concrete. Now you can just see a small video. The sample being taken at the plant. Now you can check the temperature of the concrete through the temperature gauge. Now the sample is being remixed actually. This remixing is very, very important. It has to be remixed. Sample has to be remixed before we take the slump or the cube, concrete cube section. Because in from the truck, there's a chance that the first concrete which is coming, this is a scoop actually, which they are taking to form the slump. the slump being taken around might be around 180 to will be around 180 or 200 by the time this is a plant. By the time it reaches the site, it will be around 100 120 range, because traveling time is required. So this is one method where already I had shown you that empty sampling buckets on the mixing tray, scrape each bucket clean, then do it 3 times. That is, remixing has to take place. Then slump cone is to be clean and damp. Place the metal plate on a solid level base, away from the vibration or other disturbance. Place the cone on the plate and stand on the foot pieces. Fill the cone in foam. It is now 3 equal layers, and 25 times you have to put it. And as I shown you the video, I am not going into details further. So you have already seen the video how to take the slump testing. Then again, as I told you, cubes have to be, earlier also I told you that cubes, storing the cubes should be taken. That is, record the maximum, minimum overnight storage temperatures of the certificate. Then slacken off all the nuts. Step 3 is part the sides of the mold, tapping gently with a wooden hammer. Lift off carefully. Remember, the fresh cubes are easily damaged unless handled carefully. Step 4 is mark each cube with identification number on 2 of its cast sides. Then step 5 is place the cubes in the curing tank, clean and reassemble the mold. Actually, it is one by one. That is, you should not place the sides of a different cube molds. That will be a problem in the next cube section. Then we have this check. Step 6 is check the water temperature is controlled 27 plus minus 2 degrees, and the cubes are covered by water. Check the temperature range daily using the maximum minimum thermometer. The specimen shall not be allowed to become dry at any point until they have been tested. The water in which specimens are submerged shall be renewed every 7 days. Attach the sampling, testing, cube making, storage certificates, plus the order of testing and the dispatch to test laboratory. So this is one basic. This one we are taking one small video. Now the same sample which has been remixed, actually, you can see 3 cube molds are kept actually, and the person through the scoop is filling not one cube mold. First layer for all the 3 cubes are being filled actually, and then one person is giving a 35 blows on all the sides for all the 3 cubes actually. Then he comes to the second layer and then to the third layer actually. Sometimes what happens is that somebody will fill one full cube at a time actually. That is not right actually. Then again we may have variation in the cube strength. As we all know that the percentage variation should not be more than 15% between the average strength of the cube, between the cubes actually, individual cube strength. All the second layer has been filled up. Now the person will go in for the third layer for all the 3 cubes, and it has to be slightly. He's lifting it to remove the air bubbles which is trapped inside the concrete. To remove that one, he's lifting the cube molds.
Yeah, Shelly, we are not able to see the video. We are just seeing that slump test, step 1, step 2, step 3 slide.
Okay, video is not coming. Video is not coming
right now. Yeah, previously it was there, but
okay.
Right now it is stuck. Yeah, it is in that slump test slide we are seeing right now.
It is not moving.
It's not moving. We are seeing that slump test slide. Yeah, video is not visible for us.
Okay, now I'll skip the video. 1 minute. Now is it coming? Slides is coming?
Yeah, now we are seeing the Qcrete slide, slump test, step 1, step 2, step 3. That is visible.
Earlier video you could see.
We were seeing the video halfway through. Once this slide came, we were not able to see the video.
Okay.
I think you need to restart the video.
Please sharing, new share. Share should
Yeah,
I?
yeah. If the video is a different file, you need to share the screen to make it visible. Yes.
Okay, video I'm skipping actually. I was just showing that how to take the sample from through a video. That is, are you able to are you able to hear it? Hello?
Yes, yes.
I'm able to hear you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm audible?
Yes, yes, perfect.
Okay. So I was just showing the video how to sample concrete at the plant and how it has to be remixed actually through a video I was showing, and then how the slump test is being done actually at the plant, and then how cubes are filled, a correct way of filling the cubes actually. Anyway, it is not the video is not visible. I'll show it after the session is over. I'll drop this PPT and then show that video actually. So now this particular batch of concrete, suppose when you are taking a slump concrete cubes actually, due to sampling error, there is a chance that your cube may not achieve the strength. It may achieve overstrength by 10% or minus 10% actually. If correct sampling is not done, then there is a chance that the cube strength can vary from minus 10% to plus 10% actually, or failure to remix the sample actually. As I told you that when you take the sample, the concrete sample, yet it has to be remixed properly actually, due to which if it is not done properly, then there is a chance that around 15% failure of concrete can take place actually. Then we have the distorted cube molds and lack of cube mold oil actually. If it is not done, then there's a chance that around 20%, minus 20%, there is a chances that you may not achieve the cube strength by minus 20, or you may achieve it more by around 5% actually. Incomplete compaction of concrete can lead to minus 20% less strength actually, or curing temperature outside the permitted range, what is shown in code actually. It can lead to plus and minus 20 actually. Suppose if it is very hot summer, they may show higher strength actually. If it is during these days, the nights are very cold and foggy, you can show minus strength result actually. Then lack of continuous moist curing can lead to minus 35% less strength actually. And faulty cube locations in machine or other operation fault can lead to minus 20 or plus 5. And faulty test machines, if it is there, it can lead to minus 25 to plus 10. So these are the variations. Most of the time what happens is that a cube fail, then they directly say that your concrete is not good, and due to which the concrete has failed actually. And directly that blame is put onto the ready mix producer. It's not like that. As an engineer, we have to analyze all these parameters, why the cube has failed actually. Now this is some of the you can see that in ready mix now none of the, it is not a labor oriented. Earlier we used to get cement in bags in ready mix plants also. When we started our operation in Kerala, might be 2008 or 2007, we used to get bags, and then again it used to be a manual operation, cutting the bag and putting it into a loader actually. Now that time has gone, we are getting bulkers, which comes in airtight containers, reaches the plant and is directly unloaded into the silos actually. Now in ready mix you can see all the materials, raw materials are received through weights. We have a weighbridge there actually. Once the truck comes there, the quality person goes to the top of it actually, collects some of the samples, and it is tested in the laboratory for initial test actually, whether to see whether the manufacturer, the aggregate fellow crusher, whether he has supplied the same quality material or there is a variation in that. Some quick tests are being done to pass that material into the yard actually. Now you can see in a ready mix, if you should visit the ready mix plants and see whether you can see all the materials are stored in separate bins actually. There is a hard base where there is no mixing of material takes place, or mixing of material along with the mud takes place. A concrete hard base is kept so that the materials are kept clean and differentiated between 20, 12 sand, M sand, everything. Now we have this, it's a microprocessor controlled. Now this person is just taking the instructions from the technical department. Technical department designs the entire mixes and passes on to the, it is stored into this computer actually in the memory. And depending at all, it can be repeated also because the customer name is there, the batch reports are there, the mix designs is stored. So you just have to click the buttons and the mixing starts there actually. The concrete starts producing actually. Now it is all electromechanical weighing system. All the materials, raw materials which comes inside the plant are weighed and taken, and all the material which goes into the for mixing of 1 cubic meter or 2 cubic meter or half a cubic meter, everything is weighed actually. All raw materials, aggregate, cement, water, and mixture, all things are by weight only. It goes into the mix-up unit of the plant. These are administrative dispensing units actually. There are most of the ready mix plants will have 2 administrative dispensing units. One is kept for a normal concrete, another is kept for a specialized, might be high strength concrete, or might be to produce SCC. So 2 dispensing units will be there in a ready mix plant actually. So this one is that why we should use ready mix concrete. I am coming to that next part actually. Earlier a brief about what quality aspects are being checked at the ready mix plant. Now, why use ready mix concrete actually? Now, basically, if you compare it with the site mix, concrete materials are batched accurately, and mixed efficiently, resulting in the superior quality actually. Now, compared with the site mix, we have the drum mixer. The efficiency of mixing is very poor. Now you can see pan mixers. You can see the arms rotating at a very high speed, and due to which we get superior quality concrete mix. Then we have this, due to this by weight, it takes the concrete so faster speed of production. Then we have this moisture corrections can be done accurately, hence water cement ratio can be accurately controlled. Now some of the systems where we have this aggregates as it is flowing into the batching system, whatever moisture is there in that aggregate, it takes it, how much it is coming, how much water moisture is there, and that much water gets reduced from the total water to be added to the concrete mix, and accordingly you get your water cement ratio accurately controlled actually. Now the construction sites, we can see that housekeeping improves, because you don't have to worry about storing aggregate, cement, all these things. You need not worry about it. You have to worry about only the scaffolding and how to place the concrete actually, where the equipment should be placed to deliver the concrete actually. Other than that, all other space can be used for storing, shuttering, and other steel, etc. at site actually. Now, labor requirements can be reduced considerably. What happens is that when you are using a ready mix, if you are using a pump concrete, We have 4 to 5 people standing on your slab and handling the line pump. Suppose if it is a boom pump, we have only 2 persons standing on the slab, and there is a minimum people standing on the slab, or I meant to say that a lot of labor requirement can be reduced, actually. Or you can see the chemical admixtures actually are accurately properly dispersed in the concrete mix. Chemical and mineral admixtures can be used, actually. It can be basically, if you are using a site mix concrete, you may not be able to use this mineral admixtures. Like we have this fly ash, or we have this GGBS, or we have microsilica for producing high strength concrete. These are all very difficult to be used in a site mix concrete. Whereas even chemicals, at an extent, it is difficult to be used at site mix concrete. So these are all can be used when we are using ready mix concrete. It creates less environment pollution at the site. Now, at site, for a site mix, if you dump all the aggregate, cement, there is a pollution happening at the site, actually. Whereas in a ready mix plant, it is already there in industrial zone. So there are certain level of pollution which is allowed, actually. So all your pollution happens at the industrial area, whereas at the site, it is clean, because the mixed water, the concrete which is mixed reaches the site, so it doesn't create any pollution at the site, actually. So let's create less nuisance on site as stacking of materials is avoided. There is no stacking of materials, so you can avoid, it is much less nuisance at site, actually. Now it helps actually for pump concrete, bulk transportation cement, self-compacting, faster concrete, all these things helps actually. And as you see, earlier when we started our ready mix operation, we can see in the Cochin city, how the scaffolding actually, most of the people are using bamboos and pallis and for the supporting system. Now if you see, go around in Cochin city, you can see there is a considerable improvement of formwork actually. It automatically improves with the time actually. Why? Because they wanted to receive, they want to receive ready-mix concrete, they cannot go with their old practices of bamboos and pallis and all those. So scaffolding automatically improves by use of ready-mix actually. Another most important and more very good property is that the pump which is being used for concrete pumping actually, the concrete should be workable and cohesive. Then only the concrete pump will pump actually. That is one of the most important aspects actually. So that is good for both concrete as well as for the site person. It is good because concrete, if the pump has to pump the concrete, it has to be workable and it has to be very cohesive actually. So improves to suit the pumpable requirement. So operators, concrete ready-mix operators are forced to give you a good, workable and pumpable concrete actually. Then it automatically improves the finish and durability of the concrete structures. Now again, why use RMCs actually? Again, wastage of concrete materials can be avoided. Basically at site mix concrete, once the site mix, you can see a lot of materials are procured by the contractors. At the end of the concrete day, on the end of the day, you can see concrete materials lying wasted at the sites actually. And temperature control of concrete, as I told you earlier, easier in both hot and cold weather conditions. Facilitates new materials like fibers, microsilica, etc. Thus, ready-mix concrete always be called concrete. It is not necessary actually. So I'll just look into it why it is not necessary. Most of the time, what happens is that we simply order the concrete. You will most of the time, what I had seen is that the engineers will say that okay, I want M25 concrete or I want M20 concrete. Nothing more than that they will specify. The most important thing is that type of structure which you are handling at the site. If it is a normal reinforcement, you can go in for a normal workability. If it is a heavy reinforcement is there, your workability requirement increases actually. So these are all requirements which the engineer should pass it on to the ready-mix operator. Because if you ask for a concrete, then what happens is that the normal, this one is that they will give you 100 mm slump at site, plus minus 25 is the requirement as per IS code. It is allowed. That is 75 to 125. You cannot reject the concrete. And then what happens is that site, if it is comes at 75, you are required to take the concrete, but it is not at when it reaches the slab, the workers struggle to put the concrete in place, and then the competition starts if the steel reinforcement is congested. So, as site engineers, you should look into the site requirement actually. If you tell the the ready-mix operator that I want 150 mm slump, he will design the slump accordingly and then send you the concrete. So, and then you will have a ease of life at the site actually. So, whatever the slump requirement is the most important aspect, which is generally everybody, most of the people forgets actually. Then durability requirement, like what is the maximum water cement ratio, minimum maximum cement content, special additions, all these things are very much correctly specified. These are the things which has to be done by the site engineers. Then again, what is happening is that rate of gain of strength to suit the formwork removal. Some people will take the concrete. It may be required for the column concrete, which has to be removed next day actually, which is not told to the ready-mix operator. He supplies you the concrete, and then next day when you remove, the entire thing might be collapsing actually. So it is all this. What is the strength requirement? Temperature in extreme climate. What is the temperature required concrete? Rate of supply decide to match the placing and compacting speed. All these parameters has to be looked in by the site engineers, like type of finish desired, lift and lead of concrete transportation and placing at site. Now, prior to giving order to a ready-mix plant actually, they can visit the plant, check for all the calibrations. It is not only that the tube testing machine is to be calibrated. All the equipments being used in ready-mix plant has to be calibrated. You can ask for the calibration report actually. The weighbridge has to be calibrated. The plant itself has to be calibrated. There's a frequency mentioned in IS when it has to be, what is the range of the calibration, what is the range plus minus is given actually. What is the frequency it has to be calibrated, whether it is the operator is doing it, when it was last calibrated. All these reports can be asked to the ready-mix operator prior to giving the order. Then reliability of the plant for consistent and continuous can be checked actually. Quality and proportion of material used actually. Compliance of specifications of concrete actually. So these all checks can be done at the ready-mix plant prior to giving the checks receipt of the concrete actually. What are the checks needed prior to receipt of RMC at site? At site earlier, for giving the order to a ready-mix operator, you can visit the ready-mix plant and check all the parameters. Now I am giving you what are the checks you require to do at site for giving the order. That is reinforcement and layout at site. If it is a congested reinforcement, you cannot ask for a normal concrete actually. You should ask for a special concrete actually. Otherwise, you will end up with such type of honeycomb, which nowadays what is happening is that people will directly blame, because one ready-mix operator is there, he will blame the ready-mix operator, he has not supplied the correct concrete. I am asking whether you had correctly specified what concrete you required at site actually. Then the speed of supply and lift of placing can be checked actually. What sort of requirement you require, whether you say that you require 50 cubic meter concrete, the ready-mix operator will send all his 8 trucks with 6 cubic meter in it and then send at a time. Then, but at site you may be casting a column. But that happens is that all the 6 cubic meter, all the trucks will be standing there at site, and it will be very difficult for you to unload it actually. You may require a lot of time. So depending on what is the requirement, it has to be specified. Okay, I want 50 cubic meter, but first you send 66 cubic meter, and I will let you know when to send the next one actually. So there will be a gap. So that this has to be also planned and told in advance to the ready-mix operator, because he may not be only looking at your supply. It's a commercial operation. He may take 1 or 2 or 3 jobs, and then accordingly he has to plan his trucks to execute your orders actually. Then adequacy of staging and pathways for worker safety, that is the site responsibility to see whether your staging, your form work is in proper conditions. before receiving, because it is not like doing a site mixed concrete. Here the rate of, hello, yeah. Is sufficient, whether we have sufficient. Another basic equipments, what I could see is that you order for ready-mix concrete and then you don't have sufficient vibrating equipments. Poker vibrators are not there. You may stand up with one or two, and once it gets conked off, then the trucks will be standing there. And then as the time passes, after 3.5 hours or 4 hours, the time will come, it has to be rejected actually. So you should see that sufficient vibrators are arranged prior to doing the concrete pouring arrangement. Water checks required to site during the concreting. Then you can see that whether all the equipments are in proper conditions. Additional equipments are there for the ready-mix operators. Then workability and temperature control can be checked at the plant, at the site actually. Workability can be checked before receiving the concrete. Then we have this standby equipments. Whether standby equipments must be kept working toward the concrete pour actually. Sometimes what happens, we keep the standby equipments, but when at the time when any breakdown happens, you try to start the standby equipments, it may not work actually. So you should see that it is working conditions before starting the concrete action. Then monitoring the speed of concrete to avoid progress of our placing, avoiding cold joints actually. Then again, segregation. Segregation is another issue, that placing of concrete is very much required. That is for the engineer at site to plan it actually. Even though your concrete is very good, cohesive, pumpable concrete, but if you are placing in this fashion, you are segregating your concrete. You can see only the aggregates are flowing down, all the finer materials are stuck onto the steel reinforcement. So this type of thing, if you are doing, then you are again segregating the concrete. You are not doing justice to concrete. This is again more segregation is happening, and in the end you will see that it is not a epoxy coated reinforcement, it is mortar coated reinforcement. After the concreting is over, now we'll ask a mason to remove all the fines and put it back onto the concrete action. So it's all incorrect placing, which causes honeycombs. Now, correct placing can be planned, like you can see, for a deep foundations, you can put ready pipes and take the concrete at, through the pipes at different locations, and the concrete will flow down instead of the steel reinforcement. Like this, it's shown in the photograph. So planning of placing of concrete is a very important requirement at site actually. Now, place the concrete at the closest possible location to its final resting place actually. When you're using a pump, you can use it at the locations very close to the drain, so it's not segregated. Now again, compaction. Now the placing, you can see another important aspect what we see when we are doing ready-mix concrete compared with site mix concrete. Curing, most of the time we are in the habit of doing the curing next day actually. So the concrete, ready-mix concrete doesn't happen like that, because what happens is that the top portion, because as we go up higher or during hot summer, we use a cohesive concrete actually. So rate of flow of water is very less, bleeding is very less, due to which what happens, top surface gets dried up faster, and there will be a curling action due to which shrinkage takes place actually. Now this is a difference actually when we are doing a manual concrete. What happens is that you can see a mason here, rate of loading concreting is very slow. So what happens is mason keeps on floating. So even if some cracks happens also for a site mix which is cohesive concrete, this gets disturbed and then the crack doesn't happen actually. Whereas in ready mix concrete, what happens? Rate of concreting is very fast, cohesive concrete. The mason finishes up the job faster. He thinks that the job is over. He goes on. Next day he comes back. We see a lot of shrinkage cracks happens actually, because what happens is that job is not over. Once that is over, he has to see, either it has to be covered with plastic sheet, or he should see that he should go for retamping work, or retamping. If any cracks is happening, it has to be disturbed, and it has to be again retapping has to be done, covered in plastic sheet, and early curing should be started. That is, suppose morning 6 o'clock your work has started. By 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock your work gets finished. You should see that the first part of the concrete starts curing by 12 o'clock. You should see when there is no thumb impression coming onto the concrete surface, you should start curing it. Actually, the best thing is that you can cover it with plastic sheets. Actually, this is basically if the concrete is cohesive. If you are making a site mix concrete, if it is cohesive, or if it is a ready mix concrete which is cohesive, actually this shrinkage cracks will appear. Actually, whereas in the ready mix concrete, what your site mix concrete, if it is not, most of the time what happens is that single size aggregates are being used. You can see a lot of bleeding comes. Or mix is not cohesive. Water comes onto the top. Then what happens? Some people will compare and say that when we are doing site mix concrete, there was no cracks happening. When we are doing ready mix concrete, a lot of cracks is happening. Is it not? It is not that the ready mix operator is supplying the concrete with cracks. It is basically a site-oriented job. The site engineer should look into it for no cracks to happen. Actually, all these precautions should be taken. Actually, now this is the plastic shrinkage cracks, which is a cracks problem which we are facing in and out when we are placing this concrete for IHB segments or in some sites. Actually, these are the complaints which come, which we regularly attend. It happens within 30 to 360 minutes. Again, as I told, rapid early dry conditions, hot sun, low humidity, high wind. These are some of the reasons. Preventive is you have to cover it with plastic sheet or start early curing. Actually, you cannot wait for the next day to start the curing. This is again this one. Now you can see covering with plastic sheets will give you a good this one. If you cover it with plastic sheets, you get a good slab actually. This one's video which I'll not be able to show you. Now problems faced by RMC operators actually. This RMC market penetration is only 20%, even though at present RMC in Kerala is cheaper than a site mix concrete due to high labor cost. Consumer believes that RMC cannot be used for construction for individual house. It's meant for big projects. Then some contractor misleading about RMC to consumers with respect to quality, rate, materials used in plant. So these are some of the problems faced by the RMCs. Then consumer owners are unaware when giving their work as labor contract, when that the total cost incurred is more than when adding material cost and labor cost, then the RMC supplied and pumped at site. What happens is that the contractors, they take labor contract from the owners are supplying the material. If both is added, the cost of SMC site mix concrete is much higher than ready mix, today's condition. Then delayed payments from clients, high capital cost for plant and equipments. Then RMC plants are only permitted in industrial areas, actually, industrial zones. Then problems faced by RMC is stipulations of pollution control boards causing difficulty to obtain license for RMC, poor quality of roads and traffic conditions, inconsistency of quality of concrete materials, workability retention in hot weather. Actually, again, inadequate reinforcement layout, formwork design, hindering fast pacing and causing delays, placing and compacting. Speed is lower than supply speed, resulting in delay and stiffening of concrete mix. Actually, so they order the concrete, but at site the workers are not that very fast to receive the concrete. Actually, due to which what happens is that there will be the concrete quality deteriorates. There will be delay and stiffening of concrete mix happens. Actually, problems faced by RMC consumers like delays in supplies might be the RMC operators. He takes 2 or 3 jobs and then at his wish and will he supplies the concrete. Due to which delays happens. Inconsistent supply. Then awareness on ready mix concrete. Then which ready mix company to choose with respect to quality and service. Cost details. IHB under assumption that SMC is cheaper than RMC. So these are the RMC consumers problems actually. These are the site mix versus ready mix, which I had already explained, like quality. It is more consistent, whereas site is inconsistent. Time saving, raw materials. Then we have the wastage, labor saving, safety, procurement of materials. So all these parameters I had already covered in my slides. And a cost comparison I made actually between site mix concrete and ready mix concrete. Now you can see for a site mix concrete, we get a site mix for M20 concrete. It goes up to 7,075 even without GST. Whereas we have a lot of ready mix players supplying M20 concrete at 6,800 rupees per cubic meter, including GST actually. So that much cost difference is there between SMC and ready mix concrete. Then future of RMC is infrastructure development will give a great boost to RMC, especially in urban areas. Many statutory bodies, municipality authorities, government agencies, institutions will start specifying RMC. Already it has started actually. Most of the people have started turning towards RMCs, and I hope the penetration level will increase in the coming days. And Kerala will be the first state to go all throughout Kerala. We'll be having every 25 kilometers or 50 kilometers, we'll have a ready mix plant installed right from Trivandrum to Kasaragod actually. RMC plant will use fly ash, slag and other materials mainly to be price competitive. So I hope by RMC by 2030 in India will be running up and down, whistling, and will be in a happy mode. This industry, all the engineers has to support, because first is that they should learn how to take whatever that how to take the concrete, how to specify the concrete, and it should be a purely a technical material actually. You should not pass it on to the lower down area. It has to be proper specification should be done, proper encouragement should be given to the ready mix industry so that the quality concrete improves, and it should be in the control of the engineers. The concrete material now with the advent of ready mix, earlier we had lost in site mix concrete. It is lost to the. It is now the workers who is having the monopoly. Whereas now we are coming with the ready mix industry where the engineers should take an upper hand and should start specifying the concrete and should encourage the good operators by visiting the plant. And also you can see a system, whether a ready mix operator, whether they are following. And now we have these approvals, like Quality Council of India has come up with an approval for ready mix plants. So whether it's a QCI approved, or we have the Bureau of Indian Standards also has come up with an approval for a ready mix plant, whether either the ready mix operator can go for a QCI approval or for a BAS approval. So if any of the approvals is there, then we can be some confidence can be, engineers can have some confidence that yes, this particular operator is following a certain quality system in the plant actually. So with these things, we can encourage good operators, and the good quality concrete can be encouraged to be produced in our city. Thank you very much to by Cochin chapter and construction philosophy, Jolly Varghese, chairman, by Sunil, secretary, Anil Joseph, course coordinator, and Nebu Abraham from construction philosophy for giving this opportunity to present what ready mix concrete actually. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Shili. Shall I, Jolly?
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for this enlightening session. I would request Jolly sir to come forward to give the.
Shaji sir was about to say something. Shaji sir.
Yeah.
Jolly, with your permission, Shili, it was a very wonderful presentation. I'm having 35 years of experience in civil engineering, but still, yeah, some of your points really taught me something new. That's a
thank you.
Beauty of civil engineering. Every day you learn.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Thanks.
Any questions from the audience side? Any clarifications? Anybody want to ask anything? Any questions?
Jolly sir, I have a question. So you are stating there are two things. Shelly sir, I have a question. One thing is that you are pointing out that ready mix is cheaper than the site mix concrete. Can you just a little bit elaborate on that? I didn't got the exact point. Why? How it is cheaper than, because like you told, all of us have that feeling that ready mix concrete is expensive than the site mix concrete. But you are with a slide, you are proving that it is cheaper than the site mix concrete. Can you just elaborate a little bit on that?
Actually, what I had done, I had taken the each and every component what is used in site mix concrete actually, like even the hiring of the mixer machine or the labors required for might be a 30 or 35 cubic meter of concrete. I'd actually taken it. What is the labor requirement? And the materials which is procured. Suppose for an IHB segment, you ask a supplier, he supplies the material. Actually, it will be costlier than ready mix actually. Cement, again, it will be from the trader, he has to take the cement actually. You cannot ask a manufacturer to give you a cement actually. Second is that for an M20 concrete, you may end up using in site mix 400 kgs actually. You may use 400 kgs. Whereas ready mix players, they try to see that with all this advent of admixtures, or we can say that it is because construction industry or concrete professionals, they do a very good mixed design. They can do it at 320 or 300 also to an extent. We can produce M20 concrete at site actually, at plant and delivery to it. So comparing all this cost, every cost, it is not that the material which is wasted, it is apple to apple cost. Still, site mix, ready mix concrete is cheaper actually. And with the competition now in city, you get concrete at much better price actually, and a quality concrete at site actually. You don't have to worry. You just have to worry about the site. You don't have to go for finding out a supplier or a cement. What is the quality of cement? Everything, even for a IHB segment, all the quality process by the ready mix is being done at the lab. So you get a quality concrete. You just have to check whether the quality which is supplied by the ready mix player is okay or not. You should know how to check that one actually. So you get M20 concrete, but my comparison is very open actually. You can also go through that one and see where fault is lying. But I am very sure site mix concrete is costlier than ready mix concrete actually.
Okay, thank you very much for the detailed explanation. One more question regarding that. What can be the maximum time duration from the mixing to the pouring of concrete when we are going for a ready mix concrete?
It is roughly around 3.5 hours actually. 3.5 hours to max to 4 hours. That's all. After 4 hours, we cannot use that concrete actually. It has to be rejected.
Any adding retarder can help the issue, or it has to be retarded?
It has to be rejected actually. There is a possibility that at site we can add admixture depending on the percentage of admixture we had added at the plant. Balance admixture percentage we can add at site. It is there in IS code. If the slump is dropped actually beyond the permissive limit to correct it, but admixture, not water. That is admixture along with the water. We can add it at site. That is a technical person has to do it, not a layman actually. If it has gone beyond.
Thank you.
4 hours, beyond 4 hours, you cannot use the ready mix. Concrete, you cannot use it beyond 4 hours.
Understood.
Actually, sir, after a considerable time, you have to add additional admixture to the concrete. You said.
Yeah. That is once you see there is a drop in workability. Suppose you had ordered for a 100 mm slump.
Yeah.
And when the supplier has come with 125, you cannot reject it because plus minus 25 is there in IS code.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, at site, what happened due to your delay, or might be at the labors were not ready, or this one, the truck gets delayed, and the slump has dropped below 75. It is not pumpable then. Then you can add admixture at site along with water. Admixture along with water. It is not the water, it is the admixture along with water. The dosage will be specified by the technical department of the concrete operator actually, because it depends on what dosage we had added at the plant. Suppose if maximum is 1.2% we have to add by the weight of cement, and the operator has already added 0.8, then there is a scope for only 0.4 admixture to be added in that one. So that he will decide, and then along with the admixture, it can be added into the concrete to regain the slump action.
And is there any change in strength due to the delay in pouring? You expect any
So
change?
once, no, but beyond that, if it is going beyond that hours, there will be definitely, because cement has started hydrating, and then definitely there will be loss in strength, and that will may not set also because hydration process has started. So the concrete will behave differently actually, and that concrete beyond 4 hours you cannot put it onto the concrete slab. It is better to reject it, because then it will be a major work after, if it is that particular quantity is not set or cracks are formed, it has to be dismantled, then again shuttering, steel, everything will get affected actually. So it is better once that concrete gets beyond that hours, you have to reject it actually.
So it is continuously
So
throughout the time.
which one?
Transit mixer is working continuously all this time.
Yes. Oh, yes. It has to work. It has to work actually. Because it is keeping on agitating. The concrete is being agitated with the transit mixer. It is running at a very slow speed. It keeps the concrete agitated in the transit mixer actually.
Yeah, any questions, Alan?
Yes, sir.
We
Shall I say
were
one quick
missing
question?
sometime. We were missing your office timing. We were missing you. It's very nice to see.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Happy to know that
sir.
you are working quite hard.
No, so actually 1 hour travel time is from my office to my place of residence, so that is why I'm just a little bit late. Shall I say, so one quick question. You told that if the contractor, that means if the RMC player is not supplying within 4 hours, the contractor should reject it, right?
No. It is not like that. Once the concrete is batched,
Okay.
once the concrete is batched and left the plant, from that batching plant to the placing concrete,
Okay.
it is 4 hours. Suppose the truck doesn't reach due to traffic jam, it is reaching at that time where you see that the concrete has reached and it is crossed that time. It is to be rejected actually. Concrete cannot be placed.
Yes,
or due to some reason like pump got failure at site. When the the transit mixer has reached, the pump is failed. And they try to repair the pump. But by the time what happened, the first transit mixer has crossed that 4 hour barrier.
Yes.
You have to reject the concrete.
Yeah.
Yes.
So actually, for example, you imagine that the contractor has rejected the lot of the transit mixer truck. So generally, what will the RMC player do? What they will do with this concrete? They'll offload it, or how? Because it will be a loss for them, right?
Discard it.
It is a loss actually. So it is brought back to the plant. Actually, if we come to the plant, we can see it is washed and put into the slurry pit actually. It is a waste. It is a waste.
So it won't be used with any other fresh new batches coming, right?
No. It cannot be used. It cannot be used. Cannot be used. It is purely a waste. It has to be dumped. They have to put water immediately, otherwise it will get stuck onto the drum itself.
Okay.
After some time, because of the hydration, what they do is that immediately once it is rejected, they will add water into the drum. Whatever water is left in the transit mixer, they will add fully so that it becomes loose, and then it is dumped into the slurry pit actually.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you.
And one more doubt, can we identify, because for piling we have a concrete with a different slab, and for the conversion other concretes we have a different slab. Can we identify that from a ready mix?
Slump requirement at the same time.
Yeah, slump requirement will be more for a piling work, and we can measure the slump at the site to confirm that, or how can we go about that?
Yes. Here, suppose you are actually required to. Suppose you are ordering a concrete for a piling work actually. So you specify that I want 200 mm slump or 180 mm slump at site. So the supplier, the concrete operator has to show you, okay, 180 I cannot give you exactly. Again, that plus minus 25 rule will apply. That is 180 plus 25 or minus 25, he can give you the concrete actually. Okay, if it is above plus 25, say if it is more than that one, you have got a right to reject the concrete. Suppose if it is beyond, truck has come with 250 mm slump, you need not take it actually. You can reject that concrete.
Okay. Any more questions from the participant? Tinu, please, here.
Sir, you have shown that setup for curing the concrete cubes, isn't it? There, there I have seen an AC and all, but in that's the ideal condition only. But at our site, the situation is different.
No, see what the code says. We are following the IS code. Even at site, for the major sites, what they do is that they have the curing tank outside actually, but they cover it with the sheet so that not to have direct exposure to the sun. The code says that you have to maintain the temperature at plus minus 27 plus minus 2 degrees centigrade.
Okay.
It cannot go below 25 and it cannot go above 29. Okay. That is the condition you have to maintain. Otherwise, what will happen? Suppose if it is a hot summer and if your cube is kept in water itself and water is getting heated up, your strength of concrete will be higher because rate of hydration will become higher. You get higher strength. Variation is there. Suppose if during these days, now it is very cold. So temperature in the night drops and it goes below 20 degrees. Then what happens is that your strength of cube will be lesser strength, and then you say that the concrete operator is not given the correct concrete, the cube has failed. All these things will come into picture. So what the actual condition at site, that this structure has to be cured accordingly. I'm not telling about 27 plus 1. That structure has to be cured. That's what the code says. 28 days it has to be cured, or 10 days maximum full curing has to be done. But for cube, IS code is very clear that 27 plus minus 2 degrees centigrade has to be maintained. So that we are maintaining.
So you are saying that we should cover the curing tanks at site, isn't it?
Yes. It has to be covered. It has to be covered. Okay. There should not be any variations happening.
Is there any difference in other countries in extreme climatic conditions?
Western climatic conditions, their codes, the codes will be specific. This is as per the Indian code actually. I am specifying. As per the Indian code, we say 27 plus minus 2 degrees centigrade actually. Whereas in cold countries, their one will be slightly different actually, because I am not much aware about what about the cold countries actually, about what is the standards existing there actually.
Okay. Thank you.
Anybody else from the audience side?
Sir, this is a dream project of BAI Coaching Center, and this is the 13th session of Quality Improvement Program. And this is as part of continuing engineering education and value addition to the junior engineers of BAI members. And I am very happy and proud that for this session, that is for the 13th session, we got a very experienced concrete expert. I simply say that a concrete expert for the last 30 years, especially in the RMC field. And I also like to thank Dr. Anil Joseph. Is very committed and hardworking. He brings a lot of technical experts, mainly architects, structural engineers, concrete engineers, planning engineers, and geotechnical experts for the last 12 sessions. And I also like to thank Anil Joseph and Nebu Construction Philosophy, our partner for this project. I once again thank on behalf of BI from my bottom of my heart to you, sir. Thank you, Shelly sir.